What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome back to Leafs Digest. News broke a couple of hours ago, courtesy of Josh Wegman from The Score and I believe Jonas Siegel from The Athletic, announcing that Jake Muzzin will be out with a concussion. He will not play against the New York Rangers tomorrow. He will not travel with the team to New York City, and he is expected to miss at least the next 2 games. Now, this hit was obviously, it's believed to have been from this one incident. It could have been from multiple other things here, but obviously we're going to point out against St. Louis the hit he took from Klim Kostin. It was a poor turnover that started the play. He takes the hit from Kostin there and immediately looks shaken up. He looks a little bit disoriented, didn't quite find himself back into the play. He was looking to get himself to the bench, and St. Louis ends up scoring on the play. Now, mind you, if he was seriously injured, if he's dealing with head injury, if he's dealing with concussion, you take that one with a grain of salt and you go, okay, fair enough. That was the play that it is pinpointed to as to what likely caused this concussion from him. But that aside and what caused it aside, this is where things start to get a little bit hairy for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We have discussed numerous times the lack of confidence that we have in this D-core at this point in the season. I think that going into this year, we probably could have looked at it and felt pretty good going in with Brody, Riley, Muzzin, Hall, and a rotation of Dermott, Sandin, Biega, Liljegren, and you're hoping that some of these guys can step up. We've seen obvious progression from Sandin and Liljegren, but on the flip side of things, we've seen a huge regression from Muzzin and Hall. Both of them taking tremendous steps backwards and becoming not even near the players that they were last season, I guess, and even before the playoffs when they were at their peaks. And Hall being in protocols right now, Muzzin going out with this concussion issue, it's a little bit concerning for what we're going to have to see from this Leafs team moving forward, because I do personally believe that between Muzzin, Hall, and Dermott, we cannot and will not succeed if all 3 of those defensemen are in this Leafs roster come playoff time. If all 3 of those guys are skating for the Toronto Maple Leafs come Game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs this year, we are in trouble. Well, we obviously see Sandin and Liljegren looking to make steps in their game. They've played much better this season, and with both Hall and Muzzin out, hopefully we can get to see an opportunity where Sandin and Liljegren can take on some more minutes here. And I don't ever want to look at it on the side of, oh, a guy's injured, this could be a good thing. But for certain players, when you get an opportunity to step up to fulfill a certain role, you need to take advantage of it. And that's what time it is for Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren. What can you do with these minutes, with this opportunity, with this workload that you're going to be presented with what was and what was hoped to be the number 3 and the number 4 defenseman out right now? Hall is still in protocol. He will miss tomorrow night's game against the New York Rangers, hence the fact that Alex Biega will slot into that 6. We're looking at Riley, Brody, Sandin, Liljegren, Dermott, Biega being in that 6 tomorrow and playing the minutes. It's an interesting situation for this Leafs team because we're really going to get to see how much more and how willing Sandin and Liljegren are to step into these roles and to take on a bigger position, to take on a more demanding role from Sheldon Keefe for this Toronto Maple Leafs team. In the playoffs, guys go out with injuries. It is not uncommon for people to miss extended periods of time. We saw it last year where a key player for this Toronto Maple Leafs team went out in John Tavares. And then it became who's the next man up, who can step up. We saw guys like William Nylander and Alex Kerfoot take tremendous progressions in their game, and it's carried over to this season. They've both played very well so far this year. Matthews and Marner did not step up to the plate in the playoffs last year. Marner had a terrible playoffs. By the scale of goals scored, points produced, Matthews did not have a very good playoffs. What can you do when those guys go down? Now is the time to push Sandin and Liljegren, and it's for more than just what can they do in the playoffs. Because the final piece of this puzzle here is, can these guys step up into a role that allows Dubas and Shanahan to look and say, that is our 3-4. where can we upgrade on the 5-6? Because if Sandin and Liljegren can step into the 3-4 role comfortably, confidently, they can take the minutes, they can play against higher levels of competition, they can slide into penalty kills, second power play units, and they can do that very, very well. The situation of what you're looking for going forward into the playoffs is no longer, can we find that 4D? How can we fit these guys into the cap situation here? Maybe you move Muzzin down to the 5. Maybe you find another right-handed defenseman to play with him in the 6 slot there. Maybe you can find a spot where the 3, 4, 5, 6 are a very fluid situation. They play a similar number of minutes. They play similar numbers of matchups, and you can go between them. But you're not looking for as many upgrades. This period of time where Jake Muzzin is out is going to be crucial for Sandin and Liljegren's A, development, and B, showcasing their abilities in terms of what they can do moving forward. Because they're going to be forced into positions of taking on much more important roles. That's what they're going to have to do over this next period of time. And if they can do that, if they can comfortably take it over, if they can take their games to a next level, I strongly believe this Leafs team will be in a much better position come playoff time. Because if they can elevate their games, we may not have to look for as many replacements. If you can have Dermott be your 7th guy and you're looking for one guy to be a strong 6, maybe he's your 5, maybe you move Sandin up into the slot with Muzzin, or maybe you move Liljegren there depending on chemistry, comfortability. But if you can find a situation where you only need now one guy, as opposed to looking for 2 strong defensemen or another depth D and a guy to fit into the 3 or the 4. If you can find a way to avoid that situation, that will be ideal for this team in terms of success, in terms of chemistry, in terms of character, and in terms of salary cap and the financial crunch overall. We need to get to a point where we are not overly concerned with that, and Sandin and Liljegren taking a progression is obviously a step towards it, and them being put in a position where they have to take on minutes because there is no other choice because a guy is out with a concussion and another guy is in protocol. This may be a blessing in disguise for these 2 guys to take their games to another level. Now, the final thing that I will say about this one, and it is a little bit of a haha moment here, when Ilya Mikheyev came back from injury, he started to light the world on fire. When Mitch Marner came back from his injury in his first game back since even the COVID stuff as well, a goal and an assist against St. Louis. Fingers crossed that when Jake Muzzin comes back from this, and I hope he is okay, and I hope all is well, and this is a short-term thing, it doesn't plague him too much, and he can come back healthy and comfortable and feel safe and continue to do and play the way that he was. But maybe, just maybe, coming back from this, due to the pattern of things that we've seen before, he can come back to what he was before as Jake Muzzin, the reliable shutdown defenseman there, and can continue to elevate this Leafs defensive core beyond what we've seen it be right now, because in the last few games, in the last little stretch, we have had to outscore our problems. We've left Jack Campbell out to hang a little bit. So hopefully Muzzin can come back a little bit rejuvenated, feeling better, feeling okay, take this time to rest up. Hopefully he's all good, but Leafs fans, that is all we know for the news right now. We will update you the more we get, the more information comes in. Thank you guys for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Keep believing.